Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Movie Battleground. I'm your host, Matt Beard, today, and we got a great match between Madeeh and Amaru. So we're going to bring in our competitors first. We'll introduce our judges, and then we'll get right into it. So first, I'm going to go to the person that's closest to me based on what I'm looking at on rows, and that is Madeeh. Madeeh, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling all right. Surprised I'm going up against Amaru because I feel like I've not earned that right based on the other records that he has in the other leagues. But I guess Movie Battlegrounds, he's just getting started. So this will be fun. I'm excited for some of these questions, and I'm always a fun guy to argue with.
Absolutely. And we'll introduce your opponent next, Amaru. How are you doing today, Amaru?
It was good. I'm doing all right. I am it was probably the calmest I've ever been for a debate. One I'm really excited to debate Madeeh for the third week in a row now. Go over to your reviews, go see one gotta stay. Also, these questions and answers, I feel like this is going to be might be the closest debates I've had because these answers are so good. But yeah, I'm ready to do it. I am actually 0-1, so Madeeh, you're here with me, man. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. So now I'll introduce our judges, and then we'll go into the rules. First, we're going to introduce Kevin. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I'm glad Madeeh has fallen on this landmine tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Before I make my Battleground debut. No, I'm usually judging with Madeeh. Haven't actually, I don't think I've ever been a part of one of his matches, but I know he has had several here, and I've seen Rue all over the place. I know how good he is, so if Madeeh can put his what he brings to judging into his game, then this will be a good one.
Definitely. So next we're going to introduce Chris, who just had a match last week. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to see Amaru and Madeeh. Madeeh beat me in my debut match, but I respect him. But I really 3-1. I think they both will do a great job. It's an interesting one. And let's have fun. Amaru kick his ass.
I resent that.
He just said Amaru kicked his ass. He's an impartial judge.
I'm just joking. I'm just saying.
I know. I'm totally.
What did I just pay you $50 for? I don't understand what that payment was for.
So in other words, Chris's decisions will come down to who Venmos him or Venmos him more.
There you go.
Just like the NFL. Next, we're going to introduce Jonathan. How are you doing, Jonathan?
Very good, Matt. Very good. I'm very excited for this match. I recognize Rue and Madeeh very well based on them. I judge them on their matches, whether they do on Battleground, and I can't wait to see both of them what they got in the match.
Absolutely. Alrighty, so we're going to bring everybody back on screen. There we go. Look at that. Everybody's on here. So now let's do the rule.
Amaru's calm as shit. I'm sweating fucking buckets out here. I feel like anybody going up against Tyson in like the 80s. I'm just like, what the hell's going on?
It might be the fire under your screen.
What am I doing here?
That's probably also the fire on the background graphic isn't just a graphic.
Right. Yeah, true. Absolutely. So we're going to get into our rules really, really quick, and then we'll get into the match. So first, you guys are each going to have a minute and a half to give your openings for whatever choice you make on a question. After that, you guys are going to have 5 minutes to duke it out. Please don't murder each other. I don't have the money to pay. Insurance is at an all-time low, so please don't do that. But then you guys are going to have a minute to close out your arguments, and our judges will give their decisions from there. You guys also have a 1 minute extension that you can use on your opening and closing. So if you feel like you need to, give your reasons a little bit longer, try to get everything in there, you can totally do that. I really hope somebody eventually says that they're going to use their minute extension in the very beginning on their opening of the first question, because that would be wonderful.
I almost did that in my last match, but I didn't.
That would be amazing. That would be very comedic. It wouldn't help you guys, but hey, it's for the views, right? All right, guys, your first question is going to be in the category of comedies, and your question is, what comedy film would be the best to watch with your friends while drinking? And since this is Madeeh's strength, we're going to go to Amaru first for his opening. So Amaru, you got a minute and a half to give your answer, your reasons why. Time will begin when you start talking.
Meow, when you're drunk, there are three things you want to happen when you're watching a comedy. One, your attention span while drinking is shit. So you need an easy story to follow. Secondly, you need something really stupid, really silly, laugh out loud jokes that you and your crew can just chain laugh. You're laughing, meow, they're laughing, and the next person's laughing. You're laughing at the story, and you're laughing at him, laughing at the story, laughing at the joke. But third, you need quotables. Now, there's no other movie that is better at quotables and shenanigans and littering and quotables than Super Troopers. Within the first 10 minutes, you are strapping in with your liter of cola. You're ready to be silly, to be stupid, to be funny as hell, laughing with your boys, not a care in the world. It gets your attention from that first time when the Super Troopers make the guys who are tripping feel like they're going through things repeatedly. You are nonstop laughing. Super Troopers is the best comedy to watch while you are drinking with your friends. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Someone count how many times he said meow in that minute and a half real quick.
Here. We're going to introduce gambling in this episode. So over under 10 meows will be given during the 5-minute argument. Winner gets nothing because I don't have anything. All right. So Madeeh, now you got a minute and a half to give your answer, your reasons why. Time will begin when you start talking.
I had a bit of issues with this question, mainly because I've been sober for the last almost 7 years. So drinking is not really my forte, but I do hang out with a lot of friends who do drink, and they're more than comfortable with having drinks around me. And we do watch movies. I will say the most fun we've had ourselves drinking while watching a movie was during the Cornetto trilogy's The World's End. Now, this movie is about a group of friends who are going out on a night of hard drinking. And the thing that distinguishes this movie with Super Troopers is you don't have to be drunk to enjoy this movie. You can just be casually drinking, which is another great thing because you don't need to be drunk the entire time to enjoy this movie. Another thing, Super Troopers is kind of more of a guy's movie than it is just a general friends movie. Most of the girls I'm hanging out with, they don't really like that kind of comedy, so World's End is definitely a better choice. This movie is not afraid to shy away from the fact that alcoholism is bad, but also has a lot of fun with the drinking aspects of this movie. Everyone in this group of friends that they have that go around these 12 different bars on this Golden Mile are different characters, and they kind of fill into that different spot where each person kind of can relate closer to one of these characters individually, where Super Troopers, not as much.
Alrighty, guys. Great openings from both of you guys. So your 5 minutes begin when you guys start talking. Any of you guys can, talk whenever. So,
thanks, Matt.
First and foremost, Madeeh, I'm with you. I don't drink very much either. I'm usually the sober one around all the drunk people.
This is a great question for both of us. I love it.
I feel you. But here's the thing about The World's End. It's a brilliant comedy, and that's the problem. It's a reflective, dark comedy about a man who leaves rehab to relive glory days. So he lies to his friends in order to go on a mission just to mask the pain of his life through alcoholism. The World Ends makes you want to put your drink down. The last thing you want to do while you're watching a comedy, drinking, or watching your friends drink with your friends is reflect. It tackles topics like bullies not recognizing you after torturing you for so long, losing friendships to addiction, divorce, humanity repeating the same mistakes over and over. That's not something you want to do while you're drinking. You don't want to think about life while you're drinking with friends. You want to laugh. And The World End is brilliant, but it's not that laugh out loud type of
funny.
The
thing is, though, I want all of my friends to laugh, not just a couple of the guys who find Super Troopers funny. Super Troopers is I think it's funny, but My girlfriend does not like that movie at all. None of the girls that my friends are dating or married to or whatever their relationship status is, none of them like it. And a lot of the times we don't really like if you're having just a guys' night, sure, Super Troopers is a fine movie to watch while drinking or smoking if that's legal in your state or country. But it's not really a movie that I can watch with all of my friends. If I want all of my friends there having a good time and drinking, I put on a good comedy movie and we all drink to it. Hell, sometimes we drink along with it. Now, I'm not saying that we can handle 12 pints in the course of about 2 hours, but we do our best. Like, we're not Superman out there. But the thing with The World's End is, even if you are watching it and taking in the dialogue and like the nuances of what the characters are going through and what's going on in the movie, you can still drink along with these guys and have a good time. It's not a movie that you need to be a specific type of person. It's just a group of friends watching another group of friends get drunk. Like it's almost reflective. Like you see yourself in the screen, essentially.
The thing is, you don't see yourself in the screen because you don't want any of your friends to be an alcoholic person trying to numb.
You don't want that, but we know that there's definitely at least one or two of your friends who are like that. Every group of friends, I know you have this as well if you're the sober one. There's one friend in yours who always drinks a little bit too much, and you're like, all right, now we got to take this guy home.
Not that they're going to rehab and then
not going to rehab. No,
risking their lives risking their lives in an alien invasion just to finish off 12 pints.
The alien invasion doesn't happen very often, I admit. But you still have each one of those characters in like on the screen, essentially. Like you have that guy who drinks a little bit too much and is still kind of living high school as if it was the glory days and didn't really go on too far. You still love the guy or the girl, whatever, but you know that that's kind of how it is. The other characters like has the rich kid who kind of just keeps on going and like doesn't really was bullied a little bit because of like where he was, but you kind of get that like in every friend group. You see the characters that you see on screen in The World's End in your friends group, and that's what makes it a lot more fun. Super Troopers, other than Farva and Brian Cox, they're all kind of the same guy, just split up into different bodies.
You said it. Thorny is the leader that everybody looks up to. You got the rookie that everybody like they love, but they love to mess with. You got Farva, who the guy that you have to hang around with, but you don't like to. You got Mac, who is absolutely crazy, and you have the absolutely crazy one. This goes for girls too. It goes for all of them. And then
I'm sure it does.
It goes the redhead that has the combination of all of it. Everybody just happens to like him. The same thing you see in terms of you see every friend in The World's End, you see in Super Troopers. And earlier you mentioned that it's only really a guy's movie. That is based only on opinion because I watched this 2 nights ago with my girlfriend. She wasn't paying attention to anything. She went into the scene where he's getting shot in the nuts and she cackled her ass off. Didn't need to know nothing else. Just saw that, laughed her behind off. When it comes to The World's End, you don't want to connect to the sadness that happens. The one thing you connect to that anybody can, woman, male, is the fights. And it takes 38 minutes to get there. It's 38 minutes of sadness and worrying about this man going overboard before you get to the one point that gets action and fun and straight up all out just comedy.
I disagree, man. The first 38 minutes are just as fun as the next like hour and a half that's left. This movie, yeah, it's definitely wild. It has a crazy storyline. But the fact is that you can relate to this movie a lot more than you can with Super Troopers. Super Troopers, no one's friends are that wild. And if they are, they definitely shouldn't have 4 of them that are exactly like that.
And time. That is going to be your time. I'll get your time.
We had no meows in that 5 minutes. Holy shit.
I know.
Yeah.
Whoever put $1,000 on no meows, congrats.
Meow,
you won a lot of money. Wow. Really surprised nobody went with a Serbian film. Perfect drunk movie. That's just me. So, I believe we started with Amaru in this round, so we're going to go to Madeeh for his closing. Madeeh, you got a minute. Time will begin when you start talking.
Super Troopers relies on a very kind of dumb trope for a lot of its comedy, and although that can be enjoyable, I want something that's going to be enjoyed by all of my friends. And World's End is that kind of movie. It has something for everybody. It has the romance angle between I'm blanking on the actor's name, unfortunately, and Rosamund Pike. It has the action sequences. It has the comedy. It has the heartfelt relationship between Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, again, as these Cornetto movies do. And it has that kind of relationship that you can build on these characters. It also has a fun drinking game that you can drink along with them. It doesn't have to be as much as they do, but you can still have that there. This isn't a movie that you necessarily have to be drunk to watch. It isn't a movie that you have to be sober for watch. But if you're casually drinking or just having a good night with your friends, this is a movie to watch. Super Troopers, it limits which friends are going to enjoy it, and also the fact that some of the humor doesn't really appeal to everyone isn't going to be a fun time. You do have to get a lot more blasted if you want to enjoy the movie with your friends, but, you know, I would much rather watch World's End if I was still drinking than I would watch Super Troopers.
And that's your time. All right. Okay. Great closing by Madeeh right there. So now we're going to go to Amaru. You got 1 minute for your closing. Time will begin when you start talking.
A night drinking with your friends is meant to be fun. It's meant to have fun whether or not you just started drinking or you are blasted. And Super Troopers has everything you need in order to have that much fun. And even though it skews more to the dumb comedy, it actually has a lot of nuance in it. The repeating the drug trip in the first 10 minutes is a really intelligent bit. They have a lot of physical comedy. And you talked about heartfelt relationships. The relationship between the highway patrolman and the cop has a lot of heart into it. And on top of that, you said you don't connect with the kind of wildness they have, but what that does, their inside jokes make you think about the inside jokes you have with your friends, and you all start reminiscing. When it comes to the World's End, as I said, the first 38 minutes, sure, there's a lot of intelligence in it and some little chuckles, but it takes so long to get past the sadness of a man trying to mask his own darkness to really get into being drunk, drinking with your friends, and reminiscing.
And that's going to be your time. All righty. So we're going to start with the person right next to me. We're going to go to Kevin. Kevin, who's going to get your first point and why?
All right, Meow. I thought Madeeh had a lot of good points. He came up at the end with that romance angle between Gary and Rosamund Pike's character. I feel like Amaru did a good job of keeping him on his heels. Didn't really go into the alien invasion part of your story of the movie. I don't really know how you feel about that, but Amaru kind of brought it up, and the main thing Amaru said that really drew my attention was quotes. Quotes are essential to a movie like this, and Broken Lizard does quotes, and they make the story, like you said, physical comedy as heart. So I think they do a really good job. My point goes to Amaru.
Alrighty. So Amaru strikes first here. Now we're going to move on to Jonathan. Jonathan, who's going to get your point and why?
Okay, Meow. I think Meow has the better argument, and I think Meow just put some great examples along with it. So even though Meow, it came very close of his argument, but for me, I think Meow will get the point. So my point will get to Meow right here, if you see it.
Am I Meow or is?
See, I didn't know if you were talking about Amaru, if you were talking about Madeeh.
Right, Meow? Are you saying it right, Meow?
Right, Meow.
Right. Got it, Meow?
I can't see it. My screen's
I'm assuming it's Amaru. Is that right, Meow?
Yes, it says
Okay.
it says Amaru.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Yes,
So Amaru's going to strike first, Meow. So we're going to go to Chris. Chris, your point ultimately doesn't matter here, but who would you have given your point to anyway? Amaru. All right.
Yeah,
I like
Marvel.
that.
They both good choices, but Marvel just pull out the quote and the example better. I like the role and better than Super Trooper, but I think Marvel just made his point much funner. That convinced me to his side.
Okay. Alrighty. So Amaru has a 1-0 lead here, and we're going to move on to question number 2, which is in the category of the 2010s. And your question is, what director has directed the best movies in the year or in the 2010s? So since this is Amaru's strength, we're going to start with Madeeh here. So, Madeeh, you got a minute and a half to give your choice, your reason why. Time will begin when you start talking.
First of all, the last two One's Gotta Stays that Rue over there hosts have been talking about directors, and both these guys were brought up, and both these guys, to be completely fair, were ranked number one on my individual list. So I got to put that out there right now. Both of these guys are great choices. However, of the two of them, the better movies come from a man by the name of Denis Villeneuve. Now, I'm not just saying that because I'm Canadian. I'm saying that because his movies are absolutely phenomenal. If you go from 2010, where he made Incendie, which was nominated for Best Foreign Film at the Academy Awards that year, that was his kind of breakout movie. He followed that with Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, Arrival, and Blade Runner 2049. Each of those movies is so brilliantly well done that you almost can't realize that they're done by the same director. Yes, they all have certain tropes that they follow, and they're all shot in very specific ways, but they're all so individually unique and also individually powerful and brilliant movies that when you watch them, you just see the artistic brilliance behind the camera. Denis Villeneuve brought something new to every single one of these movies, whether it's Prisoners, going into the idea of a father losing his children and the detective who has to go into and to find that, Enemy, which goes right into the twins trope, Sicario, which is a brilliant film based on the Mexican border, Arrival, which was the sci-fi movie of the decade, and Blade Runner, which succeeded
And that's
even
your
better than the
time.
original.
Alrighty. Great opening from Madeeh. So now we're going to go to Amaru. Amaru, your time will begin when you start talking. Just lay it all out there.
First and foremost, Madeeh, congratulations on your citizenship, sir. You deserve it. Plain and simple. Now on to this. There has been one man who has not missed in the 2010s. Not at all. He is 3 for 3 and has not missed in 3 different genres on 3 extremely important platforms, and that is Ryan Coogler. He made the deep and piercing drama that put Michael B. Jordan on the map and allowed him to continue on into the next 2 movies that Ryan Coogler's done. And he did it justice to a real life event that on Fruitvale Station, a place I have passed personally hundreds of times, to the point where I have heard it's so good and so realistic that I am scared to go watch it. Secondly, he made the most culturally relevant movie in the most popular genre and created a great movie on top of that. Got people who don't see comic book movies to go see comic book movies. The first comic book movie to be nominated for Best Picture over Logan, over Dark Knight, and then he revitalized one of the most popular franchises in the world that everybody thought was dead, and it's arguably better than the Oscar-winning Rocky itself when he made Creed. Ryan Coogler has, again, 3 different genres, 3 extremely important platforms, and at least 2 out of those 3 movies you would turn on and watch right now.
And that's your time. All right, we're gonna get that. I'm gonna get your time ready for you real quick. All right, guys. Great openings from both of you. Now you guys got 5 minutes, so duke it out. Like I said, please don't kill each other because I can't cover that with insurance. The time will begin when one of you starts talking.
I mean, we both agree both of these guys are great directors. The only thing I'll say about Ryan Coogler, the fact that he's only done 3 movies over the last decade, and they all have been great movies, I don't think it matches up to the fact that Denis Villeneuve has done 6 movies that have all been just as good, if not better. I think that the fact that he's done it in multiple genres and over the course of the 10 years, spread out over 6 movies, makes it that much more impressive, and that's why he's a better director. It doesn't have to be comparing like one-on-one, but I think the fact that he's able to do so much with such a wide variety as well puts him above Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler's only had 3 movies to prove himself, and they've all been great movies. But when you have someone who does 6 movies and they're all still on that level, like, you can't say that Ryan Coogler is the only one who hasn't had a miss, because Denis Villeneuve has not missed, and he's had more at bats. 6 times straight, he's hit homers right out of the park. Like, you go through any one of his movies, you can't really say that any of them are bad movies or even just half good movies. All of them are great to fantastic movies.
You ain't lied. You ain't never lied. Here's the thing, though. Here's why Ryan Coogler
2 weeks ago on your show either.
Exactly. Here's why Ryan Coogler has directed the best movies over Denis. It's because in 3 movies he has done what Denis has done in 6, and he's upped them in one aspect. These movies are masterpieces, right? But Ryan Coogler's are the only ones that are masterpieces that you will go back and watch right now again and again. Denis' best films are not the ones you always want to go back to. When things are on the same level, you need to find
that's the qualification
some
factor of
type
what's
of
better.
edge. You need to find some type of edge. Arrival is one of the best movies of the 2010s. I have not gone out my way. I have not gone out my way to rewatch that again. I did not care to watch 2049 again, and I probably won't. And plenty of people will not go back to see that. And Prisoners and Sicario, they're not on the level of significance of any of 3 of Coogler's films. Again, as movies, when you put them in a vacuum, they go toe-to-toe. Denis has 6, Ryan has 3, but Ryan was able to do in 3 was make not only a movie impact, but take masterpiece movies and make cultural impacts. Impacts that Denis movies has not been able to make, has not been able to cut through. Ryan Coogler did it 3 times, 3 different genres on 2 of the most important and most famous franchises of all time, and a third thing that is basically the start of the biggest movement of our generation socially.
Here's the thing. I do agree Ryan Coogler's movies have been more of a platform for social change, which is important. But I don't think that the fact that his movies aren't as rewatchable makes them any less. I think that Shawshank Redemption is a fantastic, phenomenal movie, but I've only watched it once. And I don't want to watch it again because it is a hard movie to watch. Just because something's rewatchable does not make it better. Having a movie be great is great on its own. It doesn't need to be rewatchable for it to be great. And also, to say that he hasn't made a lot of changes, I think that the changes that Denis Villeneuve has inspired in movies are something that we're still seeing form. What he did in Blade Runner 2049, which is very unappreciated in my opinion, is he brought something new to this cyberpunk genre. Cyberpunk, for the longest time, since the original Blade Runner, was all big cities, ads everywhere, lights, but it's very dreary on the bottom and it's raining. So it's same thing in Altered Carbon, same thing in Mr. Robot, which is kind of the beginning of a cyberpunk thing. It looks like Cyberpunk, the video game that's coming out soon, is going to be very similar to that. Blade Runner 2049 had an entire sequence in Vegas where it's just desolate land. And it fit in perfectly and expanded the idea of cyberpunk as a genre beyond anything that I've seen from the past 30 years of cyberpunk cinema. Arrival, using linguistics as a main topic and making that interesting and the best sci-fi movie of the last decade, is not only a testament to how well written it is and how well directed it is, but how strong of a movie it is and what he's like, and just shows you how much he can do with something that's very boring. Sicario, talking about the Mexican border and that issue, is another really interesting and very topical conversation. And each one of his movies brings something new that we need to talk about. I feel like that was like 2 minutes, not 5.
Oh no, it's 5 minutes. It definitely is 5 minutes. My the stream's feeling it. So that was heated. That was really good. Not heated in the way where you guys were yelling at each other, killing each other. Which, thank you for not.
We have a pretty
other.
mutual respect. I feel like.
Yeah, it was a mutual heated.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it was a nice heated match. It's like a fire on Christmas Day. You know, where it's nice.
Yeah, sure. There we
go.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
All right. So we're gonna start with Amaru here, because I believe Madeeh started first in this round. So Amaru, you got 1 minute to give your closing and all that good stuff. The time will begin when you start talking.
when you start to talk about directors or movies or anything that are both on such a high level where neither of directors have missed, you need to find something that gives it an edge. And when it comes to who's directed the best movies in the 2010s, the edge for Ryan Coogler is how he goes beyond just the movies themselves. The movies that he has made are masterpieces, but he's been able to do it in multiple different genres and extended into multiple culturally significant areas that is hard to do as a rookie director, as a one-time director, as a two-time director, being the first to handle a Black Panther, one of the most culturally significant comic book movies ever created, to go up into Rocky and almost make a movie as good as the original, and then go into a real life event and bring it justice, and bring it justice as a movie, and bring it justice as a symbol.
And that's going to
He
be
does
time.
it better than everybody.
All right, great closing by Amaru here. Now we're going to go to Madeeh to finish this round off. Madeeh, you got a minute to lay it all out there. Your time will begin when you start talking.
Listen, Amaru has one thing right. When these two directors have such high standards throughout, you have to find something to compare them. Here's the thing, though. Amaru's director, Ryan Coogler, only has 3 films that he's proven himself with. Denis Villeneuve has twice that many, and he's been just as good, if not better. And if you talk about something like Creed, which succeeded the original Rocky, which I don't think it succeeded it, but whatever, Denis Villeneuve did the same thing. The original Blade Runner by Ridley Scott was a fantastic movie. Most people call it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. And somehow, those same people agreed that Blade Runner 2049 was better. So if you're adapting a perfect movie and you do better, both these guys have that. Both these guys have done the different genres. The only thing is, Denis Villeneuve's done it more. He's done it twice as much. If you're talking about a sports reference, if the guy goes 3 for 3, that's perfect, yes. But if a guy goes 6 for 6, you get more points and you're doing better.
Okay. And I'm going to assume that's time.
Oh, this is crazy.
Fuck.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a great round by both you guys. Now I'm going to bring your judges in real quick. And they will
I don't
give
envy
their...
y'all.
I remember why I stuck to judging and not to competing, because this is awful.
Man,
Oh, yeah.
I hate me.
I feel you there.
The most.
I feel you there.
Jesus
So
Christ.
we're going to go to Jonathan first here. So Jonathan, who are you going to give your point to and why?
This is a very tough argument, and I love both of these directors so much. So the arguments themselves, it just really not. I heard maybe the side argument, some of the argument portion of it, but for me, I think the person who told the argument the best and more example is a great director around the 2010s is Amaru. So I'm gonna my point to Amaru.
Alrighty, so Mario strikes first here. We're going to go to Chris now. Chris, who are you going to give your point to and why?
I hate being judged like for a question like that. I love both of them. I love both Denis. I love Untitled a lot as directed. And it's tough because you guys both make a good point. I was waiting. First time I heard someone say that Fruit of Faction is rewatchable. Fantastic movie, but that doesn't mean never fun view. But it's just like, if we're back and forth, just think, I do disagree with Jonathan. He pulled it a little bit to the end, especially the closing to the end of the argument with the examples. And
The Russians cut! The Russians cut!
Personal significance about Denis does with all his movies. Both are great choices, but we're tough. And I hate when I had to pick two directors that I love. So my great point is Denis. Slightly in the end.
Right. Alrighty. So Kevin, it comes down to you. Who are you going to give your point to and why?
Excellent picks, obviously. You both basically said everything you could say to point out the fact that these guys are on a pretty even plane when it comes to the 2010s. What swayed my decision is, like what Amaru said, both directors are on that level. You just got to find a certain edge. And I found that in Amaru's argument, how he kept bringing up the cultural relevancy of Black Panther and what it did for the comic book genre. Creed, what it did for the Rocky franchise. It is well loved. And I just feel like all those points gave it to Amaru. Just by a slight edge. So it was a good one.
Damn. All
Okay.
right.
There we go.
Okay, another name I should find out Muddy mentioned I saw with Drake director Bong Joon-ho with both Snowpiercer and Parasite, what he did.
I was close. Yeah, I was close.
Okay.
I need that weird animal movie thing, so it's all good. Nobody went with Ryan Johnson, Last Jedi. No, nobody went with
I
him?
thought because of how many people hated The Last Jedi, it wouldn't have been an easy.
Look, you would have got my point. You would have won the game. If
You would have won
finished
my
it.
vote. No, I'm just kidding.
Now you tell me.
You know
I
what?
would like to say the whole
Just kidding.
well, but I realized that came out 2006. So yeah, he done made 2 movies. Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah.
But and just like that, just like Leia floating to her ship in The Last Jedi, Amaru takes a 2-0 lead here. And we're going to move on to question number 3. And it's do or die for Madeeh. If Madeeh doesn't get the point here, it will be a win by Amaru via knockout. However, if Madeeh gets a point here, we move on to question number 4. And we'll see if we go to a speed round after that. Alrighty. And your third question is going to come in a category of crime and thriller. And that question is, what is the best crime film directed by Martin Scorsese? So I believe this was this Amaru's strength or Madeeh's?
Mine.
Okay. So since this is Madeeh's strength, we're going to start with Amaru here. Amaru, you got a minute and a half to give your answer and why. Your timer will begin when you start talking.
There's one crime film that all other crime films look to because you are swept up into the epic life of gangsters, none more than Goodfellas. You are never bogged down in extremes in this one. You see the riches and the spoils. You see gangsters being humanized, but then you don't sugarcoat their terrible crimes. You see the ultimate consequences. It is the real life of gangsters in a over 2-hour movie that never gets dull. It's innovative. It's one of the first movies in the 90s. Breaking the fourth wall was a broken narrative structure wasn't heard of. And in the 90s, in gangster films, breaking the fourth wall with a female protagonist and looking at it from her point of view was even more not heard of. The writing is superb. The author of the original source material, Pileggi, was a co-writer, so it made it authentic, but they also didn't make it too bogged down into the book because they allowed the actors to improv. And then going into the cast itself, your arguably best actor in your entire cast. Hey, hi, there's Sully, but that's fine. And Robert De Niro, I'm gonna keep talking. Robert De Niro isn't used as much. Joe Pesci is at his best. I'm back. And Ray Liotta and Lorraine Bracco makes you root for inherently flawed and evil people. There's an incredible soundtrack. There's ultimate cinematography. That tracking shot in the bar was actually not planned. It's unyielding, and it's Scorsese has
your time. So now we're gonna go to Madeeh. Madeeh, you got a minute and a half to give your answer, your reasons why. Your time will begin when you start talking.
What I'm about to say may cause me to be kicked out of the cinematic community, but I'm going to say it. Goodfellas is not as good as everyone thinks. The best Martin Scorsese crime film is The Departed. Now, this movie has a lot of the same elements as Goodfellas, but in many aspects, it does it better. Now, Robert De Niro is the best part of the cast of Goodfellas, but unfortunately, I feel like he was underused. Same with Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci was brilliant in Goodfellas, but underused. And Ray Liotta being the leading man, I thought was the most ridiculous casting choice I've ever seen. Ray Liotta is creepy, and he was not very good in this role, I don't think. I thought that he was the weakest part of the movie by far. And in all aspects, I just thought that had he been replaced with someone better and more talented, this movie might have been the best choice. However, he wasn't. When you look at my movie, The Departed, you go from that cast and you look at everyone down on that list and you don't see one weak performance, you don't see one weak performer. Hell, Mark Wahlberg, who is not a great actor by any accounts, is fantastic in this movie. That is how the standard of the acting in this movie, and that's the standard of the entire movie as well. You go from top to bottom when it goes from their caliber. You go from Martin Sheen, who's a brilliant actor. You go to Jack Nicholson, who's probably the best actor of all time. You go Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Anthony Anderson does a brilliant job. Alec Baldwin's fantastic. Ray Winstone's fantastic. They don't have a weak point.
And that is your time. So we're going to get into the main argument right here. You guys got 5 minutes to duke it out. Your timer will begin when one of you guys starts talking.
I feel like I need a little bit more time to defend myself. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to start off real quick. Here's the other thing about Goodfellas. The cuts that he does in this movie are a little bit jarring for me. When you're watching this movie and it treads over such a long period of time, I think it's about 20 years that they go over the course of 2.5 hours in this movie. A lot of it just, you don't realize it happens until you see the number on the bottom of the screen that says, oh, we skipped 4 or 5 years. Like he's in jail for the next 10 years and then all of a sudden it's like 10-second scene and he's out. So I thought that the transitions in this movie and the pacing were a little bit tough. I thought the best parts of this movie were the parts where Martin Scorsese slowed down and really paid attention to the tension. Like the beginning where Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci are laughing, and then all of a sudden Joe Pesci's like, funny how. I thought that was brilliant. I thought the scene where Karen thinks that Jimmy's going to kill her is a brilliant scene, but those scenes are too far and few in between. It's a great movie, but it's not his best crime film. The Departed doesn't have any of those moments where it's like just constantly cutting to whatever time and you don't realize it. It does cut forward in time, but it's a lot more earned and it feels more fluid. And the acting in it is not, oh, there's this great part, there's this great part, there's this great part. It's a long 2.5 hour movies, but it feels like it's a connected movie and it runs a lot better. Where I just don't get it in The Departed.
So for me,
the Goodfellas, rather.
You're talking about the cutting between years and it makes it all jumbled. You are in The Departed. You are in a set amount of time and it feels all jumbled because it's on 100 at all times. It is everybody talking 50 miles an hour over and over and over and over and over again, and all of a sudden you forget what happened 10 minutes ago because so much information was flooded into your system by the actors that you're like, what is going on? But more so, because we've seen people do that, the reason why you just can't handle it is because it is inferior not only to the original film Departed is based off of.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Also the previous Scorsese films, because of two main things. One-dimensional characters, and secondly, very little nuance. Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson in this film. Mark Wahlberg is a douchier Mark Wahlberg in this film. Even Vera Farmiga's girlfriend.
He was brilliant in this film.
He is a racist asshole that nobody likes. Vera Farmiga, girlfriend, is even somebody you don't like. And you don't need to be likable to be a great character. You need to be you need to be full. And almost every single character is one-dimensional. You hate them all.
What only one you don't hate about Ray Liotta's character?
The thing is, the only one you don't hate is Leo. And guess what happens to Leo? He gets killed by fucking James Badge Dale, a side character who just happens to also be a cricket cop, who then also kills the only one black cop in the entirety of a Boston crime film.
That sounds about right. Black Lives Matter. But
you want to talk?
I'm telling you.
Look, Departed is it's all one thing. Full steam ahead with no depth and no nuance.
Oh, you're so wrong. It hurts.
On The Simpsons doing a parody where Ralph is like, the rat symbolizes obviousness because Scorsese needed to just say, you know what, you're not smart enough for me to be as nuanced as the original. Let me hand this to you. The Departed is way too much. You are actually connected to Ray Liotta's character. You are
my God,
Lorraine Bracco's character, because you see all aspects of them, and they don't get to get away with things before their deaths.
What was Lorraine Bracco's character? She was his wife. She was a crazy wife. That was it. Who was also somehow became a drug addict. Like, they gloss over so much in Goodfellas. Like, oh, all of a sudden they're drug addicts, and now they're sober and they're not dealing drugs anymore. He randomly trusts his babysitter to like peddle drugs across the country. There's so much in this movie that they just like kind of go over and don't explain. The cast is underused. Like here's the thing. Goodfellas was done better last year by Scorsese when he did The Irishman. The Irishman's a better version of Goodfellas than the Goodfellas is. Why? Because he had a better cast and the performances were better and they actually cared about the characters. I didn't give a damn what happened to Ray Liotta. The most complaining he does is like, oh, we couldn't get good tomato sauce on when I'm in witness protection. I don't care. Like the whole thing about one-dimensional characters, no one cared about Ray Liotta. Joe Pesci's entire character was he was an angry Italian. And like Robert De Niro was just kind of there as the background, and then all of a sudden he got revenge on a bunch of people near the end. There wasn't really any character there any more than there was in the other movie.
All right, great round from both of you guys. Get your timer real quick. Alrighty. So now, since we started with Amaru in this round, we're going to go to Madeeh for his minute closing.
Let me go 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Alrighty, we're using that extension.
Yep.
So here we go. Now you got 2 minutes to give your closing. Remember, this is a very important round for you, so just lay it all out there. Your time's going to begin when you start talking.
Look, I knew going in that this was David versus Goliath. A lot of people love Goodfellas, and I think it's a good movie, but I just don't think it's his best movie. I know that I'm fighting an uphill battle, but let me tell you something. Departed intertwines that cat and mouse game in such a beautiful and brilliant way that has not been done in cinema since and has not been done so before, in my opinion. Yes, it's a remake of Internal Affairs, but it's better than Internal Affairs in every single way. The biggest problem with Goodfellas is Ray Liotta, and he's the lead. So he's running the entire story, and the entire time you just wish he wasn't him. If it was any other actor, you'd do better, and there's a reason Ray Liotta isn't working today. Goodfellas' other problem comes from its pacing, where there's scenes that are great in the funny house scene and the Karen scene, but other than that, it's a lot of quick cuts that you don't really realize how the time is. There's not enough stakes in this movie either. Like, you realize that they're in trouble with the police every now and then, but the entire time they're just like, oh, we got away with it. We just did a bit, and then we got pinched, and then that's it. Departed, you have stakes. You feel the stakes the entire time. Every single scene you're watching and you're like, oh snap, is this the moment? The porn cinema scene where he's chasing after Matt Damon and trying to catch him without tipping him off of who he is, and he doesn't want Jack Nicholson to see him as he's coming out and wants to see his face. It's brilliantly made in terms of how to build a scene and how to create tension, how to improve the tension. This movie does so well on so many aspects that even the smallest part, Vera Farmiga is not the greatest part in this movie, but at the same time, her performance in this movie is not a bad performance. Every actor and actress in this film does phenomenal. Jack Nicholson does phenomenal. The scene where he's breaking Leo's wrist or pulling the gun out and feigning as if he's going to kill him, which apparently was improv, which is amazing. Leo DiCaprio does a brilliant job in this movie. Matt Damon does great in this movie. Ray Winstone is phenomenal in this movie. Alec Baldwin does a great job. Mark Wahlberg is not an annoying piece of shit in this movie, and you believe that he's an actual Boston cop.
That's
he's so good.
Alrighty. So now we move on to Amaru for his closing. So Amaru, you got 1 minute to close this argument out. Your time will begin when you start talking.
The plot points in Goodfellas don't come randomly because of how far they tread in this film over 2.5 hours. The shots are not cut up because it has some of the most beautiful one-take extended shots, like the tracking shot in the bar, and it also has one of the best. I'm going to take out everybody and their mama in my crew because I'm paranoid and think they're going to rat me out scene in the Layla scene where Robert De Niro's character takes out every single person in their crew. And that is a scene that is so iconic in a movie that's so iconic that everything else after it took from it. You got The Wire, The Sopranos, The Usual Suspects, Tarantino. This movie was preserved in the National Film Registry for its significance by the U.S. Library of Congress. And Ray Liotta just started Marriage Story, so he's not out of work. But basically, what you get from The Departed is a cops versus robbers versus cops who may or may not be robbers, dialed to 11 at all times, so the tension doesn't really get there. It beats you over the head, and compared to the remake and Scorsese's earlier film, it's a shell of what it could be because of the one dimension out. Oh, damn.
We're start with Chris here. So, Chris, who are you going to give your point to and why?
First of all, how dare you dismiss the neighbor Goodfella? But all joking aside, both interesting argument. I love both of the film. Like I love Departed, I love Goodfellas a lot. Despite hate blasphemy, I have Madeeh coming at Goodfellas. It's like, but it came down. I think Amaru came in a little bit too late with his defense about why Goodfellas is better than Departed. Madeeh got very on in his debate, and that what won me to the end because he was just throwing everything at John. And Amaru only pick up a little fight against the Departed rather than defending Goodfellas. So, yeah, and strangely, even though I strongly disagree, Madeeh.
All righty. There we go. Madeeh's striking first here. Now we're going to go to Kevin. So, Kevin, who are you going to give your point to and why?
Yeah, these are two great crime films. Two of my tops, I'd say top 5. The Departed, I don't know if on its own it's as good as Goodfellas, but I kind of had to suspend that and just listen to the debate. You're absolutely right about the cast. Madeeh, Amaru, you brought up about how it's set at 100 at all times. Everything happens really fast in The Departed. And I feel like Madeeh did a good job saying that it brings the stakes and that it really sells it in the end with the tension. So just by a hair, I'm gonna give it to Madeeh.
Holy shit!
All righty. So Madeeh's going to score right here. It is now 2-1. All right. So before the internet just hates on you guys, we're going to go to Jonathan.
Please, like it doesn't already.
Jonathan, your point doesn't matter here at all, just like my life. So who are you going to give your point to?
Why? Here's my answer. I'm just gonna crumble it up and just throw it away, and you're not gonna figure it out. Okay, all right. If you're begging about it, so okay. If it pains me, I have to do this, but I will get my same answer. I would have given it to Madeeh. That's it.
All right. So now we're going to go to question number 4, and that is in the category of comic book movies. And your question is, if you were going to show a comic book movie to somebody who's never seen a comic book movie, which one would you show them? So since this is Amaru's strength, we're going to start with Madeeh. So Madeeh, you got 1.5 minutes to give your choice, your reasons why, and your time will begin when you start talking.
It's kind of hard to think about people who haven't seen a single comic book movie in this day and age when a comic book movie comes out every 4 months and ends up making $1 billion at the box office. But if somehow someone wakes up after a 20-year coma that they haven't seen any comic book movies come out, the one I would start them with is Iron Man, 2008, Jon Favreau directing and Robert Downey Jr. obviously starring. This movie didn't only start the comic book trend for a lot of people, but it started the MCU, which is one of the biggest franchises in cinema history. And it's a really good starting point because not only is it very grounded in reality, has a storyline that people could relate to at that time, especially with the tensions that were going on between the Middle East and America. Also doesn't really have a lot of quote-unquote supernatural elements that later comic book movies do have. It's a really good way of seeing a comic book movie that's realistic, fun, action-packed, and just an overall good time. Both the movies that we picked are both great movies, both, spoiler alert a little bit, but both great MCU movies that really balance tension between action, comedy, and the rest. But Iron Man is the starting point of all this, and it's the good way to start because then you can go from there and continue on a comic book journey that has now, for the rest of us, lasted over 10 years, but for them is just starting.
Alrighty. There we go. Good opening by Madeeh there. So now we're going to go to Amaru. So Amaru, you got 1.5 minutes to give your answer, your reasons why, all that good stuff, and your time will begin when you start talking.
When those people who don't see comic book movies say they don't, there's usually 2 reasons they don't watch them. One, they say there's too much backstory and too many things I need to know from comics in order to understand what's going on. or more popular the reason, it's too surface level. It's all flash and no substance. It's nothing they want to get into because they don't believe. The MCU did change that. Iron Man did change that. But the one that solidified it for everybody was Winter Soldier because it is the first genre film in the MCU. Take away Cap's uniform, it is a political action thriller that just happens to have a superhero in it. You take away that costume, you don't have to change anything about the plot, and it's still an incredible movie. Superb acting mixed with great humor, some of the best action sequences in the entirety of all comic books because it makes it human, it makes it grounded, and it makes it brings people to a genre that they think is paper thin and makes it believe that there is more to comic book movies than just the capes and the flying and the fighting the same person, just a different version of you at the end. It is the reason why Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got better. It is the reason why the MCU was saved after Thor 2 and after Iron Man 3, and it didn't need Cap or his costume to be able to pull that off.
And that's going to be time. Alrighty. Great opening from both of you guys. Let me get your 5 minutes ready to go. Alrighty. You guys have 5 minutes to duke it out. Your timer will begin when you start talking.
Man, everything you said. Everything you said.
3 words. Robert Hot Damn Redford. Look at me when I'm telling you this.
Underused in this movie.
It's
underused in your movie.
He's one of the best villains in the entirety of the MCU.
Oh, come on.
You might want to start saying, listen to my argument that I'm arguing that it's the best. I'm arguing that it is the most relatable. It is the most concrete. People who don't watch comic book movies see actors like that come in and they're like, wait a second. Let me see what's actually going on here. And then it backs up and solidifies that it can captivate anybody because it's an outstanding action thriller with spy and political intrigue that shows them what comics have been showing the comic readers all along, that there's actual story and there's actual messages in them, and it's more than just a hero defeats a villain. And it has a protagonist that questions what's going on, that uncovers mysteries, that changes the face of a universe, and also happens to be a badass superhero. You want to introduce somebody to a movie that doesn't seem like a comic book movie. Iron Man is the second you show, and the reason is because of that third act.
Here's the thing. Your argument that you opened with, saying, oh, these are the reasons that people don't want to watch comic book movies, because there's so much backstory, there's so much character development that you need to know about, things like that. That's all in your movie. Like, if you watch Captain America Winter Soldier without the costume, as you said, you still have Nick Fury and you have no idea who he is. He's just some big guy who runs this organization that has terrorist potential. Yes, Robert Redford is great, but he's not one of the best villains in the MCU. He's very underused in his role, and I thought he could do so much more. The Falcon suit shows up, so it's essentially just the Iron Man suit, except much less and not as cool. You have the Winter Soldier, whose backstory you would want to watch Captain America First Avenger for. Captain America's backstory, which you see in Captain America First Avenger, to see how he got to that point, why he doesn't fit in with his time, why he's got that notebook where he's writing Star Wars and Marvin Gaye's Trouble Man album. He's got all those things that reference the previous movie that he was in, as well as the Avengers that he was in. Arnim Zola as a villain, you don't care who he is, because if you've just seen that movie, then you don't know that he was a Nazi and a member of Hydra at the beginning. The whole Hail Hydra subplot of so many government officials are a member of Hydra, you don't know what Hydra is unless you've seen First Avenger. It doesn't have as much of an effect. Whereas with Iron Man, if you're talking about character development and a story that doesn't need to be a comic book story, this is about a man who was essentially a warmonger and profited off of this, finds the fact that war is not the ultimate answer. Selling weapons does not do anything but put weapons in both sides' hands. He's profiting off of the deaths of his own people, as well as people that he doesn't ever have to see until he does see them. It's a much more realistic story and grounded story, and it has more character development. We see Tony Stark at the beginning of the MCU compared to even just at the end of Iron Man, where he's someone who cares and shows that he can have a heart, which is one of the big points of the movie. Captain America Winter Soldier, most of the movie is about him trying to find a way to fit in with modern day society. And he still doesn't do that by the end of Avengers Endgame, where he decides to go back to live in the 1940s. Captain America Winter Soldier is a great movie, but it's not the one I would introduce someone with because there's so much stuff that you need to know beforehand and going into that it just won't make as much sense. I want them to enjoy Captain America Winter Soldier for what it is. And you don't enjoy it unless you've seen first Avenger first, Avengers, and then this movie. Just linearly, it makes the most sense for them to watch it. And if
let's
you get
start
to that
listing those things. Let's start listing those things off. You said Nick Fury. There's so many different movies where you've seen the main character go up to a tall building and tell that he's a boss in the first place, and that's all you need to know. And then in the best action sequence in a car in the MCU, you see he's more of a boss because how he controls that car. You can tell he is the man, and you can tell he's the man by then. That tech with the Falcon is realistic tech that goes within that world.
So is the Iron Man suit. If Elon Musk came out with an Iron Man suit tomorrow, I'd be like, I figured.
But that's not even though that's not the question because they know it's a comic book movie. You talked about Zola. All of Zola's thing is exposition. All he does is explain to you who he is. It brings you caught up. In the Winter Soldier, the only thing you need to see about Cap and Bucky is the scene after they return from Cap's mom's funeral. Everything within that movie brings you up to speed enough to know, they knew each other in the past.
You don't really realize that he's a soldier from a different time until you get into the museum, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, hold on. How the hell is he still alive if he fought in World War II and he was this big dude?
Exactly.
There's so much backstory that you just get because of like random exposition moments that I would much rather experience by watching the first Avenger. The first Avenger is a great film, and if you're not letting them see that before you watch the Winter Soldier, you're
Alrighty. I'll get your timer reset real quick. I almost did 5 hours. Would have been very bad.
We still would be arguing at the end of the 5 hours, though.
And it still would not be quite as long as The Irishman. So
no, just as long as season 1.
True. So, alrighty. So we started with Madeeh in this round, right? Okay, cool. Just making sure. Alrighty. So since we started with Madeeh first here, we're going to go to Amaru for his minute closing. Now it's going to be 2 minutes. So your 2-minute closing will begin when you start talking.
Everything that comes to backstory in the Winter Soldier is explained just enough for you to understand what's going on with all the flashback scenes that happen, with all the tropes that happen in political action thrillers to make you understand, okay, this is who Nick Fury is, and Nick Fury's boss is Robert Redford. Okay, that's cool. Zola is all exposition. So when you're trying to figure out the backstory of Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D., he gives you all of that in a very amazing scene with an incredible performance by Toby Jones in that point. And everything with Cap and Bucky, the museum brings you up to speed just enough because people are smart enough to understand, they're talking about the past, so he came from the future. So that's why he had those notes down. Cool, especially because of the fact that all of the action sequences are amazing. All of the acting is amazing. The music, the everything in it is amazing. And you talked about character development. It develops everybody, including Black Widow for the first time. You see some character within her. You understand everything because by the end of the movie, everything is connected by scenes from one to the other. The thing about Iron Man is the second one you watch because if you are watching Iron Man first, you are so into it. You are so right. And then the third act comes. And it falls back into what everybody hates about comic book movies. Who hates comic book movies? It is the Iron Man facing a different Iron Man version of himself with cliche lines coming from Jeff Bridges. It devolves into on the next episode of your favorite Saturday morning cartoon. And if you don't like Saturday morning cartoons, you don't like comic books, that third act is what inevitably just kills you from it. It is an inevitable ending where the hero is going to defeat the villain when in Captain America Winter Soldier, there is no clear villain outside of Robert Redford, who is done beautifully. The clear villain, the clear story is about making sure Project Insight doesn't go through and Cap and Bucky. And the main point you want to know about is Cap and Bucky. Action, political. It is a grounded thing that doesn't need to be a comic book movie.
That's going to be your time. Alrighty. So now we're going to go to Madeeh to close us out in this round. So Madeeh, your 1 minute closing will begin when you start talking.
The third act of Iron Man is not as bad as you're making it out to be, and I'll tell you why. Jeff Bridges is a father figure of sorts to Tony Stark, and you feel that throughout the movie. You see that they have that bond and they want to be successful, and you kind of see the conflict growing, and you know that he's going to be the villain, but you just kind of see it growing slowly, and you know that it's going to come to a head in some way. And it makes it more intense that he's got the secondary Iron Man suit, but that doesn't take away from the movie. The thing that you started the MCU with this movie. I don't want to start someone on this path halfway through the MCU and then come back. I want to go on the same path that I took when I was growing up. From 2008 on, I saw these movies in chronological order, and it made the experience better. If I jumped ahead and then watched the second movie of a brilliant series where Captain America First Avenger all of a sudden wasn't the one I watched, and I didn't see the Avengers, so I didn't have that backstory of how they all know each other, I would much rather watch them in sequence and learn the characters as they come along. It makes it for a much more enjoyable ride overall.
Alrighty. Great closings from both of you guys. Now we're going to bring the judges in real quick. Get in here, guys. There you go. Welcome.
Man.
Alrighty. So we're going to start with Jonathan here for
Not yet.
his pick and his reason why. So, Jonathan, who are you going to pick? And why are you picking them?
I wasn't even ready to finish yet. Okay. Okay. Okay, I got it. Two very good arguments for Winter Soldier and Iron Man. And I think the person for me just really gets a better argument and a better meaning what the question is. I will give my point to Madeeh for Iron Man because he pointed out the things that he said that the casual person was trying to watch even comic book one's introduction right here, and that knocks on Amaru with Winter Soldier, though. You'll let some of the viewers a bit confused as some instances if you try and let them do Winter Soldier first. And I think Madeeh put some great arguments for Iron Man itself right here. And you need to take out the cinematic universe stuff right here. It's just more relatable story. So I will go to my point to Madeeh.
Alrighty, so Madeeh's going to strike first. Now we're going to go to Chris. So Chris, who are you going to give your point to and why?
First of all, why have I listened? You guys wrote down 3 better choices: Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, Johnny Galaxy, Black Panther. But kidding aside there, but it was a tough battle. But this was a fun match. They both great movies, but I think Amaru only brought up the good ad, and that what hurt him. He had talked more about the negative side of I am beside the good ad, but rated him more. But Vegeta, that pound of paddle and went with it all the way through with like everything and went to such a. I like it better than Iron Man, but I think Madeeh did a better job making his argument, and the fact that the problem with Winter Soldier Strange to someone never seen the MCU before really helped his argument. Madeeh, but Slim Margin won it in the end.
All right, so with that, Madeeh has tied it up.
I just realized I have to do speed round now. Fuck.
I got to come up with a speed round question. So Kevin, your point doesn't matter here, but it matters to all of us inside, which I don't know how much that means. So we're going to go to you. Who would you have given your point to and why?
Yeah, so when I looked at this question, I had to actually look at the question and try not to look at it by how much I like the movies, and because I like them both. Madeeh made some really good points about how this is the right choice for chronological sake. I didn't hear a lot of back push against the third act, which Amaru kept kind of baiting you into until the very end, which you did give some information, just probably not as much as I would have liked to have heard, because I think Amaru made really good points about how that third act is a little too comic book-ish. And if you're going to take somebody to see a film that has never seen a comic book film, I don't know, you kind of expect that person to be well-versed enough in film to be able to say, okay, this is what happened. And I think there's enough, like Amaru said, just enough backstory within the museum and the Hydra Shield explanation. So my point would have gone to Amaru.
Alrighty, guys. So here we are. Madeeh came back and tied it at 2 apiece. And now we're in the speed round. So how the speed round is going to work is this. I'm going to say your question. I'm going to say it twice. Then you're going to say your name. And whatever name I hear first, that person will go first. Now, if the judges hear any different, they'll let me know. And we'll discuss who we think we heard first. And if it's a majority type thing, we'll go with whoever had the more. I heard this person's name. So once you guys give your answers, you're going to have a minute, you're going to have 45 seconds for your opening. And then your rebuttal will be 30 seconds. And then your closing will be 20 seconds. So, Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. So, we're going to take we'll keep the judges on here. So, you're at Walmart, and you're picking a movie from the bargain bin. Your choices are The Room, The Wicker Man, Troll 2, and Masters of the Universe. Which one are you guys picking? Your question is, again, you're at Walmart, and you're picking a movie from the bargain bin. Your choices are The Room, The Wicker Man, Troll 2, and Masters of the Universe. Which one are you picking?
Amaru.
I heard Amaru first. Did you guys hear any different?
Yes.
I thought
Amaru.
Madeeh got in first.
All right.
But
did anybody else hear Madeeh first?
No, I heard Amaru.
I was also looking at Madeeh, so that could be one.
I heard Amaru.
It was
Amaru.
like, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So instead of me choosing somebody, since we're all at 2 apiece, I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 10. Okay, I got my number. So, Madeeh, between 1 and 10, what number are you picking?
6.
Okay, Amaru?
Sure, I'll go 3.
Okay, the answer was 6. So, Madeeh will go first. So, Madeeh, which is your answer?
Trolls 2.
Trolls 2. Well, Troll 2. I should not you're just so we're clear, not the animated Justin Timberlake trolls.
Oh.
I'm talking,
I was sitting there thinking,
That wouldn't be in the
Trolls
bargain
2.
bin
Yeah.
quite yet.
Oh my
Alright.
god!
I thought you meant Trolls 2 as in like the
Not with
Justin World Tour. Okay, no, can I switch then or?
Yeah, you can switch.
Okay, I'll go with The Room.
The Room, okay. And Amaru?
Ooh.
The Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man. So we got The Room versus The Wicker Man. So we're going to go with Madeeh first, since he said his answer first and his name.
Can I get it? Since you got the same one. The Wicker Man's the one with Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Okay.
Not the bees, not the bees.
The point of that question was you're choosing shitty movies that can be fun to watch. But I can understand why those two, any of the others, well, I guess
They're
The Room
definitely the easier answers.
could be completely different. So we're going to go with Madeeh first. Let me get your timer. That would be wise.
What's the time? Is it 15, 10, and 5? Or is it
45, 30, and 20? So, Madeeh, you said your name first, so you will go first. You have 45 seconds. Your time will begin when you start talking.
Here's the thing. If I'm at Walmart and I'm buying a bargain bin movie and I see The Room, I'm taking it 100% of the time. Why? Because The Room, as bad as it is, it's still fun to watch. Tommy Wiseau is not a great actor. The movie makes no sense, but it's just randomly fun. Like, I can't turn away from the screen whenever I watch it. Also, the fact that you have The Disaster Artist, which is a movie based on the making of that movie, it just makes the enjoyment of that movie better. The Room has a lot of great quotable moments. I say great, but like, oh, hi, Mark, or good dog, or good doggy, sorry. A lot of these moments are just so random, but so quotable, and it's so much fun to watch and just laugh at the stupidity that can be cinema.
Okay. And that's going to be your time. Alrighty. So now we're going to go to Amaru. Amaru, you got 45 seconds to say why you chose this wonderful movie. Your time will begin when you start talking.
Matt set it up perfectly for both of us. I have not seen any of these 4 movies, but I've heard of how bad they are. And if you want to go in looking for it, you want to look for something that you actually might have a bit of enjoyment with. And anything that has Nicolas Cage in it, I am going to see to have fun with, because you know he's actually a good actor. And you talk about quotes, Nick Cage is the quote master. I know the bees. I don't know anything from The Room. If I'm going to watch The Room, I'm going to go away from the bargain bin and go watch Disaster Artist instead, so I can see The Room, but also see a good movie at the same time. I'm going to subject myself to something. I'm going to subject myself to something that has some type of acting in it from an actor that I know is ridiculous, but you have a proven record of loving his ridiculousness. I'm going with that over something I can't even do.
Alrighty. So now we'll go to Madeeh for the rebuttal. You got 30 seconds to give your rebuttal. Your time will begin when you start talking.
Here's the thing. Nicolas Cage, yeah, he can be a good actor, but he hams it up a lot. I think there's a lot more movies that he's been bad in, and I really just don't want to watch The Wicker Man. I've never seen The Wicker Man, but the only thing I can hear about it is, not the bees, and that's it. Or How Did It Burn? I think that might also be from that movie. But the whole concept of Nicolas Cage, I'm kind of over with. The Room, at least you can have fun with, and then continue to watch The Disaster Artist. The Disaster Artist is better because of The Room. It's not something that you can watch separately. You need to watch both so that you can have a perfect appreciation of both movies.
And that's going to be time. So now we'll go to Amaru for his 30-second rebuttal. Your time will begin when you start talking.
We are being forced into a scenario to watch something that we don't like, and I'm not going into watching something that is a B-list movie. I'd at least see a C-list movie with an actor at the moment who was C-list. The Disaster Artist is going to do what you said for me. It's going to show me what The Room is, but also give me that purposeful campiness. If I have to choose between those 4, I'm gonna go see something that is standalone and might be okay at some points. I'm not picking The Room because I'm gonna say, nah, fam. Give me the Disaster Artist to figure out.
Alrighty. So here we go. You guys are gonna have 20 seconds now. So we're gonna start with here. All right, 20 seconds is a lot of time. It's a lot of time. It's enough to read a book and everything. So, Madeeh, you got 20 seconds. Your time will begin when you start talking.
Here's the thing. If I had The Wicker Man in my DVD collection, I would never put it on. If I had to put it on, I would put it on and then go into another room. But then I would go into the other room and have my parents yell at me because I put on such a shitty movie. If I put on The Room, at least people can enjoy themselves. It's not the best movie by any means, but it's still a movie that people can watch and enjoy. And you can't have that without watching The Disaster Artist afterwards. It fits in perfectly.
Alrighty. So now we're going to Amaru for his closing. You got 20 seconds to give your closing. Your time will begin when you start talking.
If I'm going to be forced to watch a bad movie, I'm at least going to watch it with proven actors that I know can give me something. So I will have to watch The Wicker Man because it's the one that has Nicolas Cage. The Room, I'm going to see that, and I'm going to say, no, I can understand The Room based off of better actors in doing more funny scenes and a better experience overall because you get The Room and Disaster Artist in a better movie.
All righty. We're going to bring our judges in real quick. Great speed round from both of you guys.
What was that?
So we're going to start with Chris here. So, Chris, who are you going to give your point to and why?
As a fellow survivor who has seen both of the crappy, terrible movies and done a rant on one of them for 30 minutes, it's tough. I mean, you both pick crap out of crap pile of movie. Like, I think Madeeh won it in the end. Like, I went back and forth, but I think Madeeh got the quotable in the beginning, and then I'm going to hop on the fact that Disaster Artist and that Nicolas Cage what I talked about. And yeah, Madeeh really brought up a couple of bad examples for The Room at least to win me over. God, I hate these movies. Let me on.
All right, so Madeeh strikes first here. We're going to go to Kevin. So, Kevin, who are you going to give your point to and why?
I would say Madeeh came out strong, saying about how quotable it is. But I think Nick Cage is a fun person or fun actor, like Amaru said. He is the quote master. Madeeh, I feel like you just brought up the disaster artist and kind of like use that as a crutch a little bit. So I'm gonna go with the proven actor Nick Cage and go with Amaru.
Alrighty. Here we go, Jonathan. One of these guys are going to hate you. So you're deciding the game here. Who are you going to give your point to and why?
All right. Listen, I'm in tribal council right now. Okay. All right. And the person who will win this, in my opinion, who have a better argument, the better bargain watch if I had to do nothing. It's Amaru. And Amaru gets the point on me.
Fucking hell.
Alrighty. And with that, your winner is Amaru.
Good job, guys.
What a game.
Never thought we would end it on a room versus Rehman.
I know, right?
Madeeh chose the answer I would have went with because I own the room.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, on that was my 30-minute rant. I mentioned my 30-minute rant came up halfway through that.
Oh, yeah. Still waiting on the 4K for the room. But anyway.
Oh, my God.
So we're going to go to our winner and our second place finisher here. So let's get into the interviews, and we're going to start out with Amaru. All right. What a game, Amaru. It came down to the very end. What's going through your mind right now?
I am very happy I won the speed round. I lost the last speed round I had, my only other Movie Battleground match, in a great match against Joe. This kind of lived up to that match as well. I said it at the beginning, the choices and the questions were really, really tough. To be very honest, I did not think I was winning that Denis Villeneuve question, but I did. And it could have gone either way. I thought I was winning the winner soldier question. I thought I got enough. And I guess that was karma. It kind of went down to what I thought it would end up doing, where it would be 2-2 and come to the end. And I pulled this one out. I'm just happy to be able to get a speed round question against a very, very good opponent in a very, very It should have went to the speed round based off these questions and answers. I'm glad, but not glad it did. I'm glad with the outcome. So.
Absolutely. And I think I can say for everybody here, this is one of the better matches we've had maybe ever. Literally came down to Jonathan with the final pick for this match. So now you're 1-1. Who are you looking at facing next?
Anytime I can take on Jacob West in anything and be able to get my point back from that sports ball championship that, again, he could have won it, but I'm going to bring it up every time. That last question I lost on, I didn't lose. But hey, so anytime I can take on Jacob, I will call out Jacob again and again and again and again until I believe I lost to him. When he does actually like full out do it, I give it to him. Ryan too, but I got my nerd fight coming up with him hopefully soon anyway, so I'll make it up.
Absolutely. We'll see what we can do with Jacob there. But so now we're going to go talk to Madeeh real quick. We're going to get his thoughts, and then we'll go to the judges and close out. All right. So Madeeh, literally came down to the wire there. What's going through your head right now?
Honestly, I'd be wrong if I didn't say I'm a little bit upset, Meow. But listen, I knew coming in, Amaru, I've judged maybe 8 or 9 of his matches that he's had this past 6 months, and I knew he was one of the top guys in any of these leagues. He brings it every single time, and I knew I had to bring it. I thought that the Goodfellas question I would definitely lost. I didn't think that was going to happen, and just honestly, to even go to the speed round on a question like that and go down to the last judge, I'm proud of how I performed. I thought I did all right. Amaru obviously brought everything he got, and I can't ask for anything more than that. This is just stressful as hell, but I'm glad I put everything out there, and I'll see Amaru soon. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, say that literally came down to the wire. You played a fantastic game, so you're definitely coming back sooner than later. So, who are some people that you would like to face off against?
To be honest, I kind of want to go against Joe Farrelly. Not anything like bad against him, but just because of the fact that he also took Amaru to the speed round question, I kind of want to see if I can keep bringing it like that. Like, if you can take like any of those top guys and like perform like that, and if I can hold my own against Amaru, I feel like I should be able to at least give a shot to some of the other bigger names in the league.
Absolutely. So, look, like I said, played a great game. Literally might be one of the best matches we've ever had here. Almost pulled off the comeback, but because of Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan, what the fuck?
So, we're going to go to our judges right now, and we'll talk to Jonathan and see what's going on. All right. So, I want to get your guys' thoughts real quick because Jesus Christ, what a match. So, we're going to go to Kevin first. What are your thoughts on this match?
I was surprised. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that I thought Madeeh had the biggest shot coming into this one. I think everybody in this community knows how good Amaru is. But Madeeh is sneaky good, man. He brought up some really solid choices, well put together thoughts. He used his extra minute when he had to win that question. So he literally left it all out on the field, and I give him mad props. To take Amaru to a speed round question is something to be proud of. So Amaru, great job, congratulations, and I'm sure you have another run to this championship in your future as well, because you're freaking awesome at this.
Absolutely. So now we're going to go to Jonathan. So, Jonathan, what were your thoughts on this match?
I feel like after this match is over, I think I deserve to go to a tribal council. My feels like being voted off. So, yeah. All right. I really enjoyed this match, and both of you guys put great back and forth. The debatements and the arguments themselves, and they both really bring it. So I can't wait to see these two guys debate again anytime soon, and I hope maybe for a rematch. And so I just can't wait. So
absolutely. Now we're gonna go to Chris. So Chris, what are your thoughts on this match, man?
It was a fun match. Madeeh and Amaru did a great job. No, Madeeh can't have her head down. He did a great job. Despite he beat me in my debut, he still did a great job here. It was down to the final question, and I hate that for all the judge had to pick between the room and the Wicker Man. I never want to hear that ever again. But this was a fun match. Looking forward to see what Mom would bring, and looking forward to make another good comeback. You know, maybe I'll be facing him again down the line. But yeah, good job, everybody. Bye.
Alrighty. So we're going to bring in our competitors real quick. We're going to do our closings and all that good stuff. No, there you go.
There you go.
Wait a second. Okay, just making sure nobody was going to take them out again. So here we go. Alrighty,
Nope,
so we're going to go around the
I'm
table.
not touching.
Oh, wait, what?
I said I'm not touching it.
Okay. I was like, he keeps getting kicked out. What's going on, man?
I really didn't mean. I didn't touch it.
Like,
You mean
Lord has been doing it. All right. So we're going to go around the table real quick doing our closings and stuff. So, Kevin, where can all the beautiful people find you at?
You can find me if you're watching this on TMG Entertainment. Hop over to our sister channel, TMG Trivia. We do everything trivia there, from singles to teams to Inner Geekdom to which is what I run, TM Geek, as you can see here. To also we have Franchise Wars, which right now we're running through our Star Wars tournament, but we're not even sure what we're going to have coming up next, possibly Marvel. So if you're interested in getting into a match, we definitely can get you into one quickly, and it's all about fun and just some fun competition over there.
Absolutely. We're going to go to Chris now. Where can all the beautiful people out there watching right now find you?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me anywhere. I got a few matches coming out. None of them are live yet, but stay tuned. I got some pretty good ones, especially one I just had today. I can't wait to get aired on YouTube. Okay.
Absolutely. So now we're going to go to Amaru. Amaru, where can all the beautiful people find you?
Y'all can find me all over these fan leagues, debating, doing trivia, doing pretty good at Geek, doing regular trivia. But I'm there anyway. And then also you can always find me at Yuri Reviews. Me and Madeeh had mentioned it. I don't know when this releases, but 2 weeks prior to this match, we were debating debaters. Ryan Coogler and Denis Villeneuve came up. My show, One Gotta Stay, is every Monday, as long as I have panelists. And so anytime you see a post, put your name down if you want to be on it, and come have some fun.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be on that show.
So now we're going to go to Madeeh, who kind of looks like Spock right here with the hairstyle. Where can all
Honestly, it's just sweat. All of the sweat is just pouring down, so it's just affecting everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, MySpace, Weibo, whatever you have, most likely on it, at Madeeh R. As Amaru said, I was on his show for the last 2 weeks. Thought I'd give him a break this week, although I have my opinions, and I know some people are going to be wrong. But that's, you'll find out about that tomorrow. But yeah, other than that, I've been in a couple of these matches now. Still judging any other day, so you might see me on there. Who knows, man? I'm exhausted right now. This is taking a lot out of me. But yeah, you know where to find me now.
Oh yeah. And then Jonathan, where can the people find you at?
Digging me a ditch. That's where Jonathan could find me.
Okay then. Well, goodbye, right?
No, he came back.
Love you, Jonathan.
All right. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at JPEck98, and also you can find me on Facebook at Jonathan Peck. And also, I'm in charge of Sports Brawl, and we got some future matches coming up. And also following around the Facebook group around TMG Entertainment. So that's it.
All right. And you can find me here, just on here. But if you want to bet in a state where it's legal, mind you, and you need help with who you want, as far as your pick to be, as far as golfing goes, pick me because I win every single time, and I'll make you some good money. But if you're not in a state where it's legal, don't do it because the Karens will go after you. I've been Matt.
Karens.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I'll come break your knees.